I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work and are backed by science. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. We use only top-of-the-line formulations dosed for maximum results and the best flavoring systems available. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Overdoing it. Yeah. I want extreme. If you do it something, do it, maximize it. Do you want a minimal, optimal, or maximal results? So if I'm talking, what is going to be maximally hypertrophic anabolic? Dave's principle of train without the insulin, and then immediately after workout, dump it and have a...
I have a better idea. I have a new protocol. I have a new protocol for you. Here it is. Here's my... Because I just listened to everything you said. Everyone else who's listening to the show is listening to everything you said. Your theory is that, and it's not even a theory, I think this is the reality. When there's blood in the muscle, okay, that's the perfect time to infuse the muscle with nutrients, right?
Yes.
Glucose and insulin helps pump that shit into the muscle. So why wouldn't you, in the morning when you wake up, okay, let's say you're looking to build your arms a little bit. Why wouldn't you go do 3 sets of like dumbbell curls, then take your shot of insulin and your infusion of essential amino acids and your glucose drink, and drink that in the morning, okay? Start your day off with that. Then when you get to your workout, do your workout, and then post-workout, do your second insulin crazy shot. Why can't you spread it out like that? I mean, do a set of push-ups in the morning to get the blood in your pecs and your triceps, and do your insulin shot, and then you do your glucose, and at least that makes sense, because now the blood's there, put your insulin in, and now you're spreading it out, so you're not doing a huge long workout with all this insulin on board.
Hold on a second. Intensity and volume, you cannot have a short duration. You do the 3 sets of push-ups or 3 sets of biceps, and that's it. You know,
why not? Why not? That's not your workout for the day. That's just your insulin priming, we'll call it. The insulin, I'm going to create a new product. I'm going to call it Insulin Prime.
Hey, listen, Charles Poliquin did this like three workouts a day, and he had a arm protocol book, and I was in it, and he would do it 3 times a day.
Right.
Yes. Again, you're missing the point. Here is, listen carefully, because you jump into my words, so I never, finish my sentence.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Talk.
Okay. In any way, first thing in the morning, middle of the day, 2 times a day, doesn't matter. If you train without it and then post-workout use it and replenish it, or if you do it before, use it for the training and plus replenish it, what would be maximized, first or second? There's no question in my mind that first can compare to second. This is why I always do it before and after, always. Now, there are some body parts, obviously, that, let's say, back and legs, if you're going to go boss to the wall workout, you're more than likely going to puke. And because of that, I said, okay, now we can't have it. So I just, for these body parts, I would do a post-workout only. But then as I did this, and then I bring back, I say, there's not enough growth. I've seen more growth, when I put it before the workout. So I would reduce the intensity, have them do before and after. And Dave, look, like I said from the beginning, I completely, and I enjoyed that you are counteracting me and that you're not agreeing with me.
Right.
I don't want people to agree with me.
Yeah.
But here, I want to tell you, it's beyond me that you don't see, if you want to maximize 1 + 1 is 2, + 1 is 3, right? You are having only 0 during workout and then post-workout +2. I'm going to have for a workout +1 or 2, and after the workout plus another 2. So I want to maximize it.
I don't think you're maximizing. I think that you're increasing, but I don't think you're maximizing. I think if you did it in the morning when you woke up with breakfast, you did your protocol, you take your shot of insulin, do your fast acting glucose and protein meal, get that stuff going so that by the time 2 or 3 hours later when you get to the gym, you're pumped up, man. You got that stuff in the muscle, everything's loaded into the bloodstream, and you're ready to go, and then post-workout you do it. That's just how I did it, okay? Yeah. It doesn't mean it's right. I love the fact that you're so passionate about what you believe, and you have science behind what you believe, and that's why I love these discussions we have, because I would never call them an argument, because I consider you a very good friend of mine, and I like that your intellectual curiosity, because that's how we discover new things, in our business. Now, George Farah, you were on Generation Iron earlier this week, and you had responded to Vlad Yudin had prompted you about George Farah saying something that insulin was dangerous, and you answered it. Now, you said insulin was not dangerous whatsoever. Now, there is a danger to insulin if you don't know how to measure the stuff. Let's put that out there, because that's important. If you take too much, you can certainly do some damage to yourself, because you can drop your blood sugar too fast. I know guys that were supposed to be taking, very smart guys too, supposed to be taking 9 units, they were taking 90 units because they just don't know how to measure the stuff. So insulin is not something to be messed around with if you don't understand how to measure stuff out and how to take things and how to dose it properly and eat the right amount of carbs. However, it's not dangerous once it's in your system at the right dosages and you're eating the right foods. It's actually probably a safety net for most bodybuilders who are using, like we said, high amounts of GH and who are taking in a high carb diet. So I think it's important to make that distinction. Now George, who's considered, I guess, a top coach in our field, made a statement that I want to see if you agree with. I'm going to play the clip. Tyler, play that clip, and then I'll preface it. And let me preface it first. He kind of insinuates that high sugar intake leads to high blood pressure, or leads to inflammation in the body, which leads to high blood pressure. Let's play the clip, and then you can comment.
Lower it. See, what happened is a lot of people don't understand. Sugar causes inflammation, okay? When it's inside your body, causes inflammation to your artery and everything. So that's why your blood pressure go up, to fix those inflammation. The same, how it fixes it, not the blood pressure is fixing it, but remember, like, what I'm trying to tell you here, because.
All right, now I've never heard that science before. I could see excessive sugar maybe inciting a little bit of inflammation, but I never heard of blood pressure increasing to alleviate inflammation. What's your response to that?
Well, but this is what you get when you have a George Farah Physiology 101 that makes sense. I mean, really. So, and I don't want to, it's not good to talk down on somebody, but, really, if you want to give advice, be expert or at least experienced. I mean, when you talk out of your ass, I'm sorry, it's comical. So yeah, of course, it's not gonna like what I had to say, but what I was saying to the Generation Iron, I'm more than welcome to debate with George. Now, you and I debated, okay, and you and I both agree with something, but disagree on something else. And I always take up the challenge. I have a lot of European guys and Asian guys that they want to hear my debate with you, because
they love it. They love it, Milos.
Yeah, they want to see if I would convince you or if you're going to convince me.
The difference, you see, the problem is that there's no problem. The reality is that we're both talking about the same thing. We're just talking about how to arrange it during the day. It's like the scheduling of it. That's all that we're really disagreeing on.
Yeah. I understand. Look, I was training 2 times a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
When I was a pro for 15 years. And most of the guys that I would train, this would be a protocol. So on that note, I would have a before and after. Yeah. So it's like 4 times you're taking it. So why I use it there? To dump it into the muscle, glycogen. Insulin is not selective. This is one thing that I tell my guys. This is why the guys that are taking a lot of Lantus or Lavemir or Tresiba, I say, like, look, it's not selective. It can make you fat. because it's going to just as much as it's going to store ATP and glucose and amino acids, it's going to store triglycerides as well. So if you are on a basal, you can do lower dosage, but then you prandially or workout-wise, you can basal or prandial insulin. Well, for me, it's like you call it performance. I do it. You do it only after. I do it before and after. And the reason
well, no, I do it before and after too. I just don't do it 10 minutes before I train. I would do it in the morning type of thing when I'm eating food to start getting my body glycogen loaded for the day, so that when I got to the gym later in the day, I would be ready to perform. That's the difference.
But you see that the thing is, that I had also insulin protocols for carb loading for competition. So, this is also what I experiment with myself.
Yeah, me
from
too.
1993. And I realized if I carb load without insulin,
right,
it would take me so much longer. When I did it with insulin, it just dumps the glycogen in the muscle. It's at the accelerated rate. So again, now when I rewind it, when I designed my daily diet, you said like 16-week pre-contest, what do you do? For me, it's 24-hour diet always. Doesn't matter if it's 16 weeks out or 2 weeks out or a week out. I constantly want to be in shape, and I want to maximize glucose delivery, maximize anabolism in my anabolic phase, which is training, and post-workout, that's anabolic phase of the day. This is when I want as much glycogen. But if I have to have a fat-burning phase, because I'm in pre-contest, I have to do some with no insulin and no carbs. And this is what I would usually do, fat-burning phase first thing in the morning. Right. So therefore, I can't do what you did, like first thing in the morning, right away you start with insulin. Right. I would let the guys have a overnight fast and a morning cardio, burn some fat, and then now I'm going to worry about putting the glycogen back in. Right. So this is my protocol. The only thing, like I said, that I wish that you considered, that you did it yourself a few times just to see the difference. Yeah. That's the only thing. Because look, I never charged Nasser somebody, right, for the.
No, he was your guinea pig. That's all. Yeah, that worked.
No, but back in the day.
Nasser's too cheap anyway. He would have never paid you. You know that.
Yeah, but you remember there is someone on the internet also. He basically said, you gave me $100,000 information. Yeah. I say, yes, I did, man. But I didn't charge you anything. Then I shared this with Chad Nichols. Yeah. And he asked me. I mean, I published the article in Muscle Media 2000 for Bill Phillips.
I remember.
Do you think I got paid? No. Or Danny James was a friend of mine. We competed at another champions. He was so depressed. He wanted to retire right after that contest. He says, no. Dennis, let's just try this and see what happens. Right? So I am doing this. Did I do it for money? No. I did it because they said, okay, this is my theory. This is my experience.
Right. Sure. I understand.
And many people say, why don't you just keep it to yourself and be Mr. Olympia? Don't tell anybody. I was always that way. Okay, if I have something valuable and thousands of people are working out, would I share the knowledge? Yes, I would.
Well, Milos, that's where we get along well, because we both think very similarly. You know me, I'm an open book. I put everything out there because I think people don't know. I think people should have a right to understand how to do things the right way. And science is important, and there's not many people.
I learned a lot of things from you. I mean, I watch your podcast, and of course,
thank you.
Yeah, you're brilliant, and I learn a lot of things that you. Sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't, but sometimes you open up my eyes to something that I didn't think about it. But in this insulin debate, just to conclude, because I mean, I love you, and when we both raise the voice, it's just to who's gonna say the thing, and I have to be louder. But I respect everything you said. The only thing that I see, you did not try it. So the thing that I said about fucking, if you don't put it in, it's not called fucking.
That's right. I raised my voice for dramatic impact. That's all. People like it. If I don't raise my voice, we're not having an argument, right? Otherwise, it's too much of it's too civilized. Otherwise, no. But you know what? I think that what we discussed here, though, is that there is a responsible way to use insulin, and there's a responsible way to use it to gain muscle, okay, and to protect your body from becoming a diabetic later in life, especially because let's face it, bodybuilders consume an enormous amount of food and calories, and it puts a tremendous strain on the pancreas. That's probably one of the the one thing that bodybuilding is not necessarily good for the body because, and I'm talking about even natural bodybuilding, because we put an enormous demand on the pancreas to produce enough insulin to absorb the food we eat. Because let's face it, what other human being eats 6 to 8 times every single day, 365 days a year? It doesn't happen. We were not meant to eat that way. That's why, back in the caveman day, they starved for a few days and then they would gorge. They did basically intermittent fasting, by necessity. So that's how our bodies developed, to be in a scarcity state, not to be in an overabundant state. So even though we're not carrying around body fat on our body, okay, like a fat person who overeats, we still are putting a big demand on our pancreas. So, you could accuse Milos of a lot of things, but he'll never become a diabetic, that's for sure, because he always had plenty of insulin around to absorb all your food that you were eating. And I think that preserved your health probably a lot better than some of these other guys, because I know that there's a lot of pro bodybuilders who are retired now who are, they would call them type 2 diabetics, but they're really type 1 diabetics because they got to use insulin. They have to use insulin to keep their blood sugar intact. So, and a lot of that was due to enormous food intake and GH usage.
Yes, for sure. And I don't think I mentioned, because what George was saying, insulin is dangerous. And I don't think I concluded the sentence.
Okay.
The way that insulin is dangerous, right, is if you take it and you don't maintain your glucose level. So, of course, when you inject the insulin, obviously, when you have an onset peak, so if it's Apidra, Humalog, Novolog,
right.
15 minutes is onset. It's going to peak within an hour. If you take a Humulin R, 30, 45 minutes is onset. Peak is 2 to 3 hours.
Right.
Okay, so any of that length of the time, your blood sugar level goes down. That's the only danger. You're going to go hypoglycemia. You're going to feel that hypoglycemic episode, blurry visions, the sweating, shakiness, and stuff like that. This is so you just have to take a glucose. So this is why when we do the protocols, we give them so much carbohydrates to maintain glycemia. Last time you said that I just feed my insulin. Well, it's to protect yourself, that you don't go hypo. This is one reason, of course. But secondly, why I do it before the workout, I hope you now understand. I want that glucose to be utilized in the muscle contractions during the workout and just shoved in. The only way it's gonna be dangerous if that blood glucose level drops down too much. This is the only danger. So if you know how to control it, then it's very easy.
Right, but you do know that most of the glucose that's used during the workout is liberated from stored glycogen inside the muscle already. So the muscle's got a storehouse of it waiting right there inside the muscle. It's just going to grab the glucose there first and put that into the glycolytic cycle and create ATP immediately. I mean, that's the easiest way. It's not waiting for glucose to come in through the bloodstream to do that. The brain might be waiting for glucose to come in to use that, but the muscles are going to grab stored glycogen more. I would think preferably, since that's right there. You're trying. So the only reason I say is that you're trying to replenish glycogen that's not even completely depleted during the workout. Whereas I'm just saying, wait till the end of the workout and replenish it. You're not low on glycogen storage while you're training. Muscle.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another point. Glycogen is stored carbohydrates in muscle and liver, right? So if you are not taking a glucose intra-workout, you are depleting it. So you are emptying the source.
That's fine.
Why? Why would you not consider? Hold on a second. I'm going to save my glycogen storage. I'm not going to touch this glucose. I'm going to add the blood glucose during the workout. Why would I have to deplete it?
Because I think it's becoming depleted anyway, and you're just trying to replenish while you're depleting.
You are not replenishing. You're using. Okay. You're going to be using glucose for the muscle contractions for the uptake. If it's sufficient, more than the needed, then it could be stored. But otherwise, if you don't take this glucose, then glycogen is going to be emptied, slowly emptied, and then you're going to have to replenish it.
That's fine.
It's just like your bank account. Okay, you right now your savings is glycogen, and your checking is intra-workout glucose. So why would you, as you're training, you're right there, why don't you use the checking cash that you have? Oh, no, let me go to the bank, get some cash, and use that one.
No,
Leave it in
I
the
think a
bank.
better analogy is no. 'Cause I'd rather just wire the money from my account using my computer because it's in there already, and then after I pay all my bills, I'll just redeposit more money and fill it up again. It's way easier that way.
No, I was talking about 30 years ago. Okay, you have to.
But
go
that's
to the
not a
bank.
good. The better analogy is nowadays with the online banking because it's just easier that way. You know. But also, there is some theory, Milos, to prove that depletion of glycogen in the muscles upregulates glycogen synthase, which would
Yes.
enable you to replenish glycogen storage at a more efficient and higher rate too. So in other words, if you're always topped off, your glycogen synthase levels might decrease a little bit because you don't need them. So then when you do deplete, it's a little harder to replenish sometimes.
Insulin itself upregulates glycogen synthase and downregulates glycogen phosphorylase.
No, the glycogen synthase though is dependent on glycogen stores. So in other words, if your glycogen stores are topped off, you're not going to upregulate glycogen synthase because there's no reason to. The only time your body increases glycogen synthase is when you're depleted.
Just go on the PubMed and put this insulin and glycogen synthase. It upregulates.
Well, that's because normally your body will release insulin, you know, when it needs to absorb carbs. That's why, you know. So.
But this is why endogenous release or exogenous supraphysiological amount. This is why I'm talking about.
Okay.
This is why I use insulin.
Yeah.
Exogenous, because I want to have this additional benefits. It's same thing like, okay, steroids or not steroids? Yeah, well, I'm using
Yeah,
it
no,
for-
you're right. No, steroids cause pharmacological effects, and whereas versus physiological. And you're right. Exogenous insulin definitely gives you. That's why if you ever see a type 1 diabetic, I see a lot of natural type 1 diabetics that have a lot of muscle in their body.
Yes.
There's definitely an effect from them taking insulin, you know, because they're getting a muscle building effect from it, no doubt.
Yes, absolutely. But in any way, to conclude this one, right? My opinion still stands that the only reason why you don't consider my protocol, you still didn't try it. And you know how they say, and you know that better than anybody else, gram of practice could be heavier than ton of theory.
Yeah, right.
So now theory is one thing, but then why don't you try it?
Yeah.
So just have a couple of your clients, they're willing to try it and say, okay, put them 1 week, just post-workout like you do, and then say, okay, well, let's see what happens if I give you pre-workout as well. And let's have another debate.
I'll do a controlled study just for you, Milos, and we'll reconvene for the insulin chronicles in a few months to go over the results. Milos,
right.
I love you, man. I know you got to train some people today. Thank you for coming on the show, talking insulin with us, because I know the fans love it. I love it. I love the intellectual, dialogue, because I think that the more we talk about it, the better the understanding and the grasp we have of the topic at hand. And we're always discovering new things. And like I said, I don't have a closed mind on anything, but I love to debate you because you're a worthy opponent. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. I always enjoyed it. But you know, one thing that I really want to do it, you, Chris Aceto, and me talking judging. I mean, seriously, because I respect your opinion.
Yeah.
I listen to you and Chris analyzing, bodybuilding contest and
Right.
how you analyze it. I would really like to do that. I think it would be very refreshing.
If they ever have a bodybuilding the show this year, maybe we can rejudge it ourselves on camera. We'll play the prejudging, and you and I and Chris can analyze it, and we'll see if we come up with the same outcome as the judges did.
Yeah, I mean, but even just like analyzing two physiques, you know, let's say Brandon and William.
Right.
You know, pose. You know, you give to somebody why you give it. You know.
Right.
Then
I think the fans would like that because they don't really understand how the judges come up with their stuff, and it would be nice to get a judge on with us as well to see what their take on it is as well. But good topic, and I think we can do this on a future Guru Talk for sure. And that's what this show is about. It's about talking about these intensive topics. You know, sometimes the fans like that. You know, we do fun stuff on our channel. We do science stuff, and so you got the fans that just only want the science stuff. You know, and then you get the fans that only want the fun stuff, and you get the fans that only want the contest coverage. So I like to give everyone a potpourri of everything. And Milos, I appreciate you coming on once again. You're a true, warrior in the sport in the sense that you never stop. You're relentless, and that I can respect that because that's the way I am too. You're always trying to push the education of what's going on and push people to be better than they are. And that's really what a good coach and a good guru is, as far as in my definition.
Yeah, that's idea of life, make a difference.
Yep.
Love, not hate. You know, this is one thing I just don't understand. Where is this world going, right? It's so easy to, you know, show love. Why don't you? And
I think it's hard. I think it's people have much harder time showing love, and that's the problem, Milos.
You know, love should be the easiest thing to show.
You would think so, but people can't express themselves. They think they think they're revealing a weakness in themselves to do that, when in fact it's the greatest strength of all if you can actually show that you're capable of loving, you know?
Yeah, so on that note, I love you, Dave.
On that positive note, yeah, we're going to call it quits today. I'm Dave Palumbo with Milos Sarcev for another installment of Guru Talk.